Welcome to Nightmare Echoes. Listen, scream, and embrace your horror obsession. In this episode, Jesse's here to talk about the movie Smile while asking the following questions. Why is the cat named Mustache? And what is the name of the entity? We also get to explore our theories on the film. I want to add here that we recorded this way before the trailer for the second movie dropped, and wow, am I excited for the story that's going to happen in that movie. Having a main character who is already famous and therefore used to people smiling at them all the time, how would they be able to tell the difference between who is and who is not this entity? Anyway, I hope to see that one in theaters soon. Next week on the podcast is Midsommar. On to the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nightmare Echoes podcast. I'm your host, Elazar. I'm joined again by co-host Jesse. Jesse, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Cool. So today we're covering Smile 2022. Did you know that it was a short film first?
I did know there was a short film first. The short film was actually prequel's not the right word, but I mean, the film itself, Smile, is actually a sequel to the short film.
Yeah.
Because the character in the short film is the character we see right at the beginning of this one.
Yeah. I feel like they changed the rules a little bit, but I did like the short film. It was a quick watch.
Interesting. I did not see the short film.
So it was more like she's talking to a therapist. She's telling him that she hasn't been able to sleep in a while, actually asked for coffee. At first, he asks his assistant to get coffee until he realizes that she hasn't slept for days. And he says, okay, cancel the coffee. You need to sleep. And she's like, every time I sleep, I see this face. It's always smiling at me. It's creeping me out. I don't know what to do. She's trying to talk about her problem with him and that no one takes her seriously. And then he says, I want to ask you a question. How did we meet? How did you get here today? Do you remember coming here today? Or did you just appear in this office and talking to me? Have we ever met before? It's like, I want you to think, could you be sleeping right now? And then she's like, what? And then he starts this creepy smile.
Oh.
The room turns dark. She starts screaming. And he turns into this evil monster. It's definitely cheesy.
Well, that's awesome.
It was good. It was a good thing. So the rules changed a little bit from the short film to the movie, but it is really cool that that character then shows up in the movie. I did like that.
See, to me, that actually sounds more clever and more fun than maybe the actual movie.
That's funny. I did enjoy this movie, though. Written and directed by Parker Finn. We'll get into what you do or don't like about it, and I will talk about what I do like about it.
Yeah.
It stars Susie Bacon as Rose Cotter, Dr. Rose Carter.
Any relation to...
She is the daughter of Kevin Bacon and Karen Sedgwick.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Somewhere online I read that Kevin Bacon was very proud of her for joining the horror community, as he's been in quite a few horror
That's
movies.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Then
now we can play the Sophie Bacon game.
Right. It's also got Jesse T. Usher as Trevor. That's her fiance. He's from The Boys. Did you ever watch The Boys?
The Boys, the TV series? Yeah.
So you remember who he plays? He's A-Train. He's the speedster.
Oh, okay.
Their version of the Flash.
Got it. Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And then it has Kyle Gardner, who plays Joel. He's the cop, her ex-boyfriend. He was from Smallville, who played Impulse.
Oh, wow. That's
their
going
version
way
of
back.
the Flash.
That's going way, way back.
So I was like, does anybody in this movie not play the Flash?
Yeah. They're all really fast.
They're all... Which is pretty cool. It had a budget of $17 million. It was supposed to go straight to streaming, but then they put it in front of test audiences, and test audiences really liked it, so they published it in theaters, and it made $217 million.
Cool.
So anything you want to say about it before we just kind of dive through it?
Should we give a summary like we have been doing in the past?
Yeah, go for it. Do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it?
You can do it. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So our main character, Dr. Rose Cotter, gets visited by a patient who is a PhD candidate. Her name's Laura. And she tells her that she's being followed by this thing, that it can appear as anything. It often appears as her grandfather that died as a child. It is haunting her with these creepy smiles. It has told her that she's going to die today. And a week before, she had saw her professor kill himself. Now it's like it followed her. No one seems to believe her. She's trying to tell this, and this is going to... Dr. Cotter then tries to comfort her. Like, as a psychiatrist, she thinks, well, she's going through this type of schizophrenia. She's diagnosing her. She doesn't really believe her that it's real, which mirrors later down the road when Laura kills herself. The entity passes herself on to Dr. Rose Cotter. She tries to explain it to people down the road, and no one seems to believe her either. No one takes it seriously.
I will say, too, that scene with her trying to, I guess, convince Laura that that's not real or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's what a therapist would do. Like, just, no, you're wrong. It's all in your head. Like, that's not going to work.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that's not going to... No one's ever going to react positively to that.
So the writer... Parker Finn Says he did a lot of research into
Okay.
the. Did it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that the drugs that were used in the movie seem on point. Like that,
Yeah.
there's one point where she wants to go get drugs from her therapist, and
Sure. Antipsychotics, yeah.
right, the writer talks about in the commentary that any trained psychiatrist has to go to a psychiatrist while they're
Yeah.
learning,
Of course.
and many of them keep that psychiatrist on, so they always have someone to
Right.
also talk to them about what they're going through, so they continue to help people and support people.
Well, of course, because it's a difficult, traumatic job sometimes, right? So
Exactly,
you would need
exactly.
that.
So throughout the movie, she's trying to convince everybody. Things keep getting worse. She loses her connection with her fiance, who tries to understand, but he can't. She claims he's with her as long as it's easy, but as soon as it gets hard, he wants to leave.
I did not see that. Like, I mean, I didn't see what. I feel like they didn't show him being the way she's describing him.
No, I agree with you. And to go on a tangent here, I would say that the writer set it up so that no one in this movie was so unlikable that we would, as the audience, would be like, oh, when she finds out later, if she wants to survive it, she has to kill somebody with someone witnessing it, and it's going to be very messy and traumatic. That since he didn't set up it for anybody to be a real good villain, like, oh, just kill this person,
Yeah.
you'll get out of it, it makes the moral dilemma harder. Like,
That's fair.
Who should she kill? And I think, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Trevor was that much a jerk in any way. And the thing that upsets her the most is when he calls her therapist because he's worried about her. I think he cares about her in that moment.
Uh-huh.
So after she loses relationship with Trevor, her fiance, she goes and she messes up the relationship with her sister. Traumatic warning for anybody that doesn't like pets getting harmed in their horror movies, because it happens all the time. She has a wonderful cat named Mustache who loves her and is always by her side until at one moment it's not. She goes to her nephew's birthday party named Jackson, and when he's opening presents, he pulls out her dead cat named Mustache instead of the train she had bought him. And this entity that is messing with her mind, appearing everywhere, shows up there. It's one of the other people there. It's smiling like crazy. It is taunting her. Of course, no one sees it, which she's like, it's there. No one can see it but me, but it's there. No one believes her. They just think she's insane, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so that kills her relationship with her sister. So she goes back to her ex, who's a cop, who's able to help her get some answers on the past people. She did go, Laura's professor that had killed himself in front of her, she went to his wife to try to get answers, and she did not like it when she found out she's not really a reporter, and that she believed what her husband that had killed himself had seen was all real. She kicks her out of their house, so her only option left is to go to her ex, who's a cop who has all this access to files and can make these connections that every series of 4 to 7 days, going backwards, the person that had killed themselves watched someone kill themselves beforehand. And so she's finding this pattern with his help. That leads them to going to one person that survived. It's this guy in prison who found out he was looking at a pattern that had happened in Brazil. I think he said Brazil. It's somewhere in South America, I think. And he said that the only person that survived the pattern was a man that killed his neighbor in front of his neighbor's wife, and he's able to pass it on without dying. And so that's what he did. He killed a random stranger, and now he's in prison. He confessed that, yes, I killed someone. He's not looking for any defense or way to get out, but he freaks out when he figures out that our main character has it, and he doesn't want her to give it back to him. So she knows at that point that she has two ways out. One is either just dying and passing it on, or two is killing someone else in a traumatic way and going on. And she humors the idea for a little bit to kill one of her patients.
Which seems so wildly out of character, I couldn't believe it.
Right. And then it turned out it was a dream.
Yeah.
She didn't actually go through it, and I don't know if she would have.
Yeah.
But it was pretty crazy. And then when her boss shows up to care about her, say, hey, let's come in and talk. I'm just concerned about your safety. He says you don't need to be alone right now. She gets the idea, oh, if I'm alone, I can tackle this thing on my own, and no one's there to witness me dying, so therefore I can't die.
Is that really the idea she got? Because it's not really what she did. I mean, she didn't, go kill herself.
No. She wasn't going to kill herself. I think she was thinking if she could make it past the 7 days, that she would never die because there's no one to pass it on. And
I didn't get any sense there was a time limit ever.
I guess the only reason I got one was that in the conversation with Joel on the way to the prison, he was talking about the research he did, and most people died anywhere from 4 to 7 days afterwards. But none of them lasted past a week.
Right, but that doesn't mean there's a time limit after which you're free. I mean, I don't know how you would come to that conclusion. It just means the thing is really efficient at killing people.
Right, but I don't know. She wanted to be alone. That's the only reason I could think she wanted to be alone. And it's because she's really upset when Joel
Well,
shows up, having tracked her with his police knowledge.
my interpretation was that she had interpreted that earlier remark about how it thrives on trauma, right, to mean that it was connected to her own personal trauma. So if she faced her demons, her personal trauma, that would somehow conquer it.
Okay, that's true.
I thought that's what they were saying.
Yeah, I get you. And I think a lot of the movie's message is that we should face it earlier and not let it build up and damage further relationships and stay within us too long.
I guess I missed that. That may have been a message in there, and I didn't.
Well, a
pick
lot
up
of
on
it, they're setting up, they referred that a lot of the trauma that the past victims have, like Dr. Munoz, the professor that had killed himself in front of Laura, has still had trauma from his father dying when he was younger. Laura herself had trauma from her grandfather dying when she was younger.
Yeah.
And then the entity causes other people trauma, maybe to come back to them in the future, or because it just likes causing trauma when it traumatized Jackson, who opened that present, who was supposed to be a train and was the dead cat.
Yeah.
And Holly, her sister, talks about how he is now traumatized because of it.
Yeah, in fact, that's why I was thinking in that scene that it was going to wind up having been passed on to the kid, and I was kind of surprised that they didn't do that. They didn't go that direction.
Well, I think the entity is patient. And I think the idea is that, at least the way I saw that, is that years down the road, he can come back because this kid will have still had this trauma.
Sure, I didn't think about that.
Because it's never, I mean, he's passing off to people, but we do find out as we research those people that they all have this long-lasting trauma.
Right, yeah. So maybe all of them, maybe for all of them, their original trauma was also
part of him.
The entity just planning ahead. Yeah.
Right. There's definitely some interesting things. So, okay, let me finish because we were doing the summary real quick just to get to the very end. She gets to this cabin. She tries to deal with her trauma. We find out that her mother, when she was younger, we saw that she had found her mother who had OD'd. We find out when she's dealing with her trauma here that her mother did take too many pills but regretted it, called Rose out for help, asked Rose to get the phone, asked Rose to call to be saved, and Rose was too scared of her own mother to do anything or take any action, and regrets it to this day.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be mirrored in the fact that when she gets sent home by her boss and the phone rings after she's left, she runs back in to grab the phone because she never wants to be that reason that someone's call for help didn't get answered.
Yeah.
That's just why she's working from the beginning of the movie before it is following her. She's working 80-hour weeks and has no sleep. Which I thought that was the theme of this movie. I kept thinking while doing this movie, she's got to be freaking tired at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's like something like 4 days go by, like the last 4 days without her sleeping at all.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And then there's the scene where Joel is driving to the prison. He drives all night to get to this prison. And then after he thinks they got no news, he drives all the way back for them to get home. But it took him all night to get there, and he has already been up all day. He stayed up for 2 full days to make that happen. And I was like, man, maybe I'm just really tired from work, but this movie's making me really tired. But like, because I just feel the character's stress and how tired she is. But in the end, she thinks she kills the big entity, who turns into this, like, it morphed from her mother to this gigantic big woman. She kind of gets it close to her, uses a lantern to smash it over the head, burns it on fire. Her childhood home is engulfed in flames. She runs out the door. She thinks she's defeated it. She runs back to Joel because she doesn't want to go home. She hasn't slept in days. She asks Joel, like, I know I've asked a lot of you, and I'm sorry I'm such an inconvenience, but I would just like to sleep now. Can you be with me while I sleep? And Joel says, of course, I'll stay with you. And then he gets a smile and says, I'll never leave you. That's where she realizes, oh no, this is the entity. The lights go dark. And as she runs away from the entity, she's back in their childhood home. She runs outside again. Then Joel shows up, the real Joel. She runs back in the house, locks herself in there. When Joel breaks in, he finds her having poured kerosene all over herself. She lights a match and lights herself on fire. And then the camera zooms into Joel. And it goes right into his eye the way that it went into Rose's eye when Laura killed herself. Like that same kind of, like it's the entity going into their people kind of thing. And then that's how the movie ends. All right, we could talk about themes or things you like or you didn't like. One interesting thing the director talked about in the commentary was that the colors of the hospital and other characters that were frustrating her were all vibrant and bright. And it was supposed to be like them being so peaceful and calm that somehow it's suffocating her. I kind of took it as like if someone's like, hey, calm down. And you're like, I don't need to calm down. I have a problem and I need you to recognize this problem. And they're like, hey, it's okay, calm down. Like how much that would frustrate you as a person. Like, you ever play that game? Like the calm down game?
No.
Like I love this. You just tell your sibling, right? Like, calm down. And they're like, I'm calm. It's like, I said calm down. And they're like, but I'm calm. Like, I said calm down. They're like, I'm calm. And then your father runs out saying, hey, you're not calm. You need to calm down. If you don't calm down, you're going to get grounded. And now your sibling's in trouble.
God dang.
Which
that's devious.
It's evil.
Devious.
I have younger brothers. Anyway, I've heard other people describe this game. And I don't say that we ever played the game like that. But I've heard people describe it like that.
Yeah.
That's how that feels like to me. Like she's reaching out for help this whole movie. And the light pinks and the light blues are all supposed to be this calming effect. And everybody's like, hey, let's just analyze the root of this issue. Let's just talk about it. And she's like, I'm going to die in a few days. Mm-hmm. We don't have time to talk about it. She's like, well, let's continue this conversation next week. Before I give you medicine, let's meet next week and we'll talk about it. And they're not listening to her.
I do feel like just the cinematography in general was really, really good and really interesting. There were a lot of really cool shots that are really well composed and original. And I did think visually it was refreshing. You know? Just interesting visuals.
I do like the camera angles were often upside down.
Yeah.
To show that her world is now upside down and confusing. Mm-hmm. There's the one shot when the EMS is first bringing Laura in.
Yeah.
We're way up in the sky, watching them way down below. Then the camera tilts from downwards 90 degrees to be horizontal.
Yep.
Goes right into the office of her boss. And that's supposed to symbolize, okay, the entity is leaving Laura and it's coming for you.
Yeah.
And they're taking the long way through the elevator to get to you. But I want a sneak peek at what I'm getting now.
I liked this sort of objective view that top-down shot gave you, though, too. It made you feel more detached, like you're just sort of floating above watching this catastrophe unfold. I don't know if that's intentional, but I think it plays into the whole kind of theme of, like, if you're the non-crazy person, right, looking at the crazy person, you can afford to be detached and just sort of see things in this calm way, but that person themselves is having a totally different experience, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I think another cool visual was the pain level poster with the smiley faces on it.
Oh, man, I've always hated that stupid pain level scale. Like, no, that is not what I look like when I'm in pain.
Yeah.
No, that's not the face people make when they're in pain.
Right. And another thing, the director said that it was one of the original ideas he had when he was having knee surgery. He saw that thing. Because if he's making this movie about non-physical pain, right, that scale has no relation to it. And it's like she's got to fake it all the time. She's got to wear this mask and pretend to be happy. Her coffee mug has an emoji on it that's a happy face, right? She's got to pretend to be this happy. It's this mask she wears to hide that she's covered her trauma, and that pain scale, her pain can't fit on that pain scale.
I felt like that was really cliche. Yeah. So like the whole idea of like a horror story with people smiling and some huge grimace, and it's talking about someone hiding their pain and all that. Like, I've seen that done so many times. Okay. I think one YouTube short I even saw that was that same premise. I think it was even called Smile. Like, okay. I mean, it's just I felt like that was very played out, and I was expecting to see, I guess, a little bit more of kind of an original angle on it. And I guess there was kind of, but I just feel like the big creepy smile thing is something that's done a lot. And
well, okay. Well, what I liked about this one, it was all practical. Unlike there's a movie called Truth or Dare, which used what felt like a Instagram filter to digitally alter these people's smiles, and it was really bad. Yeah. It over exaggerated like crazy. It was super cheesy. So I like that he worked with the actors to give as big as a natural smile while having the most dead eyes possible, so that you could see there's no truth to the smile that they're giving. Another theme I liked is that at first we see her sister Holly is this happy-go-lucky complaining about first world problems, being a stay-at-home mother, having to drive her one and only kid to school and back, and she has no time for herself. We later find out that she also had trauma from dealing with her mom, and the director felt it was as if you get two people, put them in the same situation, but they both grew up wearing different masks to hide this trauma, because they both still had it. But Rose's focus was focused on work, focused on always helping people no matter what the cost. She's not in it for the money. She just wants to help people. She's willing to work 80-hour weeks for less pay than the family says she would deserve. While Holly, her sister, focuses on family, and everything about her life is just about making sure that her family is a good one, so that her family isn't the way she was brought up.
And maybe I misread that, because when I felt like they were trying to make us hate the sister, at least at first, And I felt that was undeserved. Like, okay, maybe her problems aren't as big as your problems, but I don't think she's being an asshole.
Yeah, no, I don't hate the sister. I thought the brother-in-law was a little annoying. With what's the point?
Sure,
What's
agreed.
the point of being a doctor if you can't become disgustingly rich? And even
Yeah.
Trevor at this point, who
He was insensitive, yeah.
yes, even Trevor at this point was like, "Oh, are you kidding me? She would do it for free." And Greg was like annoyed, like, "Don't put that idea in her head."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we all have those relatives that we could be like, "Oh my gosh, they're like their problems are a big deal," but
Yeah.
I don't see them as, maybe it's in rewatches that I felt like there's no reason to hate these other characters.
Yeah, I guess it's not clear whether they really want us to hate them or not. I guess they're just illustrating the difference between them.
Yeah. And I feel like also that Rose is so much in her world that those problems seem insignificant to her.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, there's in the alarm scene
Oh, yeah.
that when she...
That was a good scene.
Yeah. The first time, though, before the alarm, she's in her house and she sees Laura like hiding in the shadows. It's freaking creepy. She breaks a glass. Then later the alarm goes off. She breaks the glass again. She runs to the front door's closed. She turns off the alarm, but if you look, she's not hitting any numbers. She's just hitting the keypad. I think it's just like a movie mistake. Like she's supposed to be hitting numbers, but her finger are not touching any numbers. It's like do all random on the pad.
Huh.
But it's not like she hit any numbers. I thought it was funny. Then she goes to the back door. She finds that the back door is open, and that's when the phone rings, which is creepy because the voice on the phone turns out to be the entity when the phone rings again. What I love about this scene, though, is that after the cops arrive and tell her it's fine, like we get false alarms all the time, it's not a big deal. Trevor comes in. She tries to describe her day. Once she goes away, he looks down and yells, "Rose, did you break another glass?"
Yeah.
That was so hilarious.
It was funny.
There's other scenes like that, though, that are set up really creepy when her therapist comes to visit her. And she's had gotten all the files from Joel, so she has them all over the table. So she's got to put them away really fast. And then invites her therapist in. Her therapist is talking to her, asking her how she's doing. And she's like, my fiance and I might be through. My own sister's written me off. And now my therapist is making house calls. Besides that, I'm doing great. And then it turns out the phone starts ringing. And her therapist goes, are you going to get that? And it's her therapist on the phone saying, hey, I don't like the way we ended things. And it turns out that the entity is in her house, disguising herself as the therapist. I thought it was done well. I thought it was a good scare. Like, dang it. And it's interesting, the director points out every time she gets on the phone, it leads to something negative in this movie.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. Other jump scares that worked for me, I liked when the sister came back out after she said, you can't be around Jackson when you're like this. And I thought the sister was coming back out like to demand an apology or something. She knocks on the window and she looks, and then her head like twists downwards in a weird angle and like is swinging in front of her car door. Do you remember this jump scare?
Oh, okay. No, now I remember it.
Right. So the sister walks out, she knocks on the car door, and then her head like falls over. I thought that was a good jump scare.
Yeah. I have so many notes about specific scenes and things like that.
Any scene you want to talk about? Let's talk about it.
I mean, I've got pages of them. I haven't.
We'll pick one.
Okay. So before we knew what was going to happen with the cat, they're talking about, they've told us the rules, like what this monster is, right? And then they highlight the cat in a way that's like, okay, the cat is going to be involved in the story somehow, right?
Sure.
But the way my brain went with it is, sooner or later, we're going to see this cat with a giant smile, right? Like,
sure.
That didn't happen, unfortunately. That would have been really funny.
They did say they got the cat scene where she comes home and the cat comes out to her out of the way first, because animals are difficult to work with and they wanted to start with the most difficult shots.
Yep.
So they got that film first, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But I like the cat. I thought he was cute.
The fact that his name was Mustache is maybe not related to anything, but it is a smile-related body part, you know.
That's true. Okay.
There's a scene near the beginning of the movie also where she's hugging Trevor, that's his name?
Yeah, her fiance.
Yeah, and the camera looks at, I guess, the sort of the window or the corner of the house as though she sees something, but I didn't see anything. And I rewound and paused and looked, and I don't know what we're supposed to be seeing.
I don't know if either she isn't seeing anything, she's worried about seeing something, or we just can't see what she sees for this one instant. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because we couldn't see anything that Laura saw at the beginning.
That's true.
And we weren't supposed to be sure if we saw Laura in her house when we first saw her, because it was in the shadows. Mm-hmm. That was when we first did see her jump out, was when she's looking at the audio file of the interview with Laura, right? Like she hears some beep, so she puts her head really close to the audio file and is looking for that little error in it, and the entity is right next to her, jumps out and screams Rose right next to her. What I thought was interesting is I didn't realize until the commentary is that she hears her name whispered at night when she's in the house alone. It's not Laura whispering her name, it is her own mother whispering her name. And when she's on the phone with Holly at work, lying about being okay, she's looking out the blinds down at the street level, many floors down, and there's someone just looking straight up at her. That is also her mother looking straight up at her, which I thought was interesting.
And I had my usual complaint in a lot of movies, which is, why don't you talk about things more, right? Like,
sure.
Although I guess they did kind of address that, actually.
I think they did.
So because it's like you're kind of frustrated, at least I was kind of frustrated, like, this is your freaking fiance. You're not going to talk to him about any of this. Like, if anyone's going to be on your side, even if you think you're crazy, because at that point she seemed to think she was hallucinating.
Right.
Even if you think you're hallucinating, you would tell, I would hope, the person closest to you, I'm afraid I'm hallucinating. Like, I'm seeing these things, you know, I need to lean on you. I need your support. I need you to tell me it's okay.
So, yeah, I see where you're coming with this, but you're right. I think you're right in that they addressed it. When she got the files from Joel, she first, before she goes to Holly, she runs home to Trevor. Yeah. She has the files in her hands when he is there with the doctor.
Yeah.
With the psychiatrist. And she's afraid to show the psychiatrist the files, which is why she hides them later.
Right.
But she was ready to show Trevor, like, look, here's a line of evidence.
I didn't pick up on that. Okay.
Because she still had it in her hands, right?
I see.
When that fell through and she left, and Trevor's like, you're going to leave? Really? Right now? We're here to help you because we care about you.
Yeah.
Right? She leaves to go to her sister. She was overly aggressive, maybe. Like we've talked about this in other horror movies. Don't start with the most grotesque subject ever.
That scene that really frustrated me. I was really frustrated with the writing in that scene because I'm like, you've already tried this, it's already failed, and so the next person you talked to, Joel, you toned it down deliberately, like you had learned something, and now you're doing the same thing again. That's like. It's like a lack of development. Like the character's not developing, and I that always bothers me. I want to see development, you know.
Yeah, I see that, but I would also say that she hadn't slept in so long that maybe her judgment wasn't there.
But then why just an hour earlier was her judgment better? You know, because she was real hesitant to say anything explicit to Joel, and now suddenly she's word vomiting everything to her sister. It's inconsistent. I didn't like that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. For me, maybe it's just because it failed with Joel, the person that should have worked with the most. That she's, I don't know, acting too fast, trying to figure it out.
Or maybe she is naturally more hesitant around Joel because she likes him.
Right. One little detail when she's looking at that evidence that she has on the table is that she does get text messages from Trevor, and his icon on his phone that is his picture used to just be a picture without a smile, and this time the picture now has a big smile on it,
wow.
Which is a little Easter egg that the director pointed out in the commentary.
That's creepy.
I was like, it is creepy. Like, she doesn't notice. And in that scene, she's biting her fingernails, and she'd been biting her fingernails the whole movie, that now the director said he wanted to pay it off for her. Like, she bit way too much, and now it's bleeding like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's when she grabs the knife, and I'm like, what does she want this knife for?
Yeah.
And then drove to the hospital with the knife, and I'm like, oh, that can't be good.
Yeah.
But you're right. That felt out of character. The fact that she was willing to kill a patient for it.
Yeah, that didn't seem to match to me. I definitely wondered why she wasn't. It seemed like she never thought about just killing herself out of view of anyone.
Yeah.
And I kept wondering, why doesn't she do that? Why doesn't she just go jump off of a cliff? Like.
Yeah, it's hard nature to think of actually pulling off the act, though.
But I mean, she's so selfless and dedicated and self-sacrificing. You would think she would self-sacrifice. You would think that would be one of the first places she would go to.
Yeah. Which might have gone through with if Joel never showed up at the end.
Maybe.
I want that scene that's out of character, though. I do like the way it was filmed. Like, she goes in there, he starts freaking out. She's like, shh, calm down, shh. She pulls out, like, she waits till her boss shows up.
Yeah.
Then she pulls out the knife, and I'm like, oh, shit, this is everything she needs. She needs to kill somebody with a witness, make it traumatic and messy. Right. That's why she brought a knife.
I'm satisfied with that being a dream sequence, though. Because all the time, we do things that are out of character in our dreams, right?
Yeah, that's true. But I like the way it was filmed. So she stabs once, and he just looks down like that did nothing. I'm like, wait, what? I was definitely confused.
Yeah.
And then she pulled it out and stabbed him like 25 more times while her boss screamed like crazy. And then Carl's the patient. he gets this smile on his face. She turns around, looks at her boss, and he pulls his face off.
Yeah.
It was freaking creepy. And that's when she wakes up. I liked it, though. I like that scene.
It does a good job of continuing sort of the narrative of reality really breaking down, right?
Yeah.
But, oh yeah, another thing I wanted to mention. Was the cat named after Joel?
I don't know.
Because I'm just saying, Joel has a mustache.
It could be. I don't know. Maybe.
Did the cat have a mustache? I didn't notice one.
It's like hairy everywhere, right? I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, like, normally you would think if the cat had like a black spot over his lip.
Yeah, it could be.
But I didn't notice one.
I didn't either.
But I don't think they showed the cat's face enough to tell.
Yeah, the name of the actor who was the cat is Star. A little tidbit.
Okay.
You're like,
all
what?
right.
Like, the cat actor.
We might need to look up a picture and figure out whether this cat actually has a mustache or whether it's named after Joel. I don't know. Or maybe don't, because I don't want to ruin it. I want to believe that it's named after Joel.
That's cool. I do like him. He's a great character. I do like when she opens up, even though it's not real. It broke my heart. She's like, look, been afraid to let people in my whole life. This is why I pushed you away. I was afraid you'd see the real me. And after all that, she's talking to the entity that drove me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see similarities between this and It Follows? Because a lot of people compare them.
A little bit. I actually felt like I saw similarities between this and Hereditary.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to elaborate?
Well,
elaborate.
The way it was filmed, where you see these sort of, for example, the early shots where you see Laura standing in the dark, like smiling, like there's so many shots like that in Hereditary.
Well, that's true.
With the naked people standing in the dark, smiling.
Yeah.
Like that was an immediate visual connection in my mind. Like it immediately made me think of Hereditary.
Well, in that same regard, then Ari Aster, who did Hereditary, also did Midsommar. Did you watch that one ever?
I don't think so, no.
That was not afraid to be horrifying in the bright, bright daylight.
That's a witch movie, right?
It's more culty.
Oh, okay.
Folk horror. Like, hey, here's this group of people that just do things a certain way.
Okay.
And we're these asshole Americans that invaded our space and think we can tell them how they run things.
I see.
It's really good. It's 2 hours, 20 minutes. And that's not the extended cut, which I haven't found in America. Like Europe has this extended cut. I can't find it in America. But what I liked about Smile, at least, is a lot of horror movies, the horror has to happen at nighttime. It's, I would say, more often than not. And this movie had a lot of jump scare, horrific things happening in bright daylight scenes, which I thought was good.
Okay. I mean, I'm not complaining about there being horror scenes at night. I'm just saying that the images of this smiling person standing in the dark just immediately made me think of the movie.
Yeah, you're right. The cult members in Hereditary, in rewatches too, like you're like, wait, is there someone outside that window?
Exactly.
Like you might not have seen it the first time.
Right.
It's little tiny details in the background that are good.
And plus, it's also a similar concept if you're passing a demon on from one person to another.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like it was a similar idea.
Yeah, and you're all dying to do it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Lots of beheadings in that movie.
And it's something I've been wanting to bring up here. I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up because it's a big one to me.
Okay, go for it.
You know, and we both complained about this in TV series and movies a lot of times. So this is...
I'm ready.
So the sister tells Trevor, oh, your fiance has apparently murdered her cat and then given it to my son as a present, right? And and apparently Trevor's reaction is, I can't believe she did that. Wow. Right? Not, what? I don't believe you.
Are you sure? Because we don't hear the conversation between them.
We don't hear it.
We kind of see it. And then when it comes up later, it's not said with anger, I don't think. They're in the car. He's upset because she's appearing to be less than sane and straightforward with him. And he just throws it out there. Did you murder Mustache? But he didn't go, you murdered Mustache.
Well, okay, but even that question, like, I feel like I would have more expected him to be like, there's no way what you're telling me is true. And I would have expected him not to confront her. Did you murder your cat? Right? Like, no, she did. Like, obviously she wouldn't do that.
Right. And I know what you're referencing. You're referencing the conversation we had with the A-Team, where these fake A-Team members show up, commit crimes, and then the real A-Team shows up in a bar and they're like, hello, and like, we don't accept your business here. You're evil. Look at this newspaper article.
You've known someone your whole life enough that you want to marry them.
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to believe that could have happened. You would have confronted, I think the question would have been, why does your sister think you murdered your cat? Is the cat okay? What happened? Like, what's the story there?
Yeah. One trope that people online were mentioning that they were frustrated with, or it has been done to death, is the 10-foot tall scary woman.
Yeah, that I I don't mind that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's in a horror movie, you're allowed to have a cliche monster, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, it would be cool if they had made it everything more subtle, but if you've already got smiling monsters and people slicing their faces off and stuff, I think you're already that bridge has been crossed. You
I
know,
get you.
You're already doing cheesy imagery.
And then when it's not the monster, we do get the where he grabs her face, stretches her face, starts putting his head into her face,
Yeah.
which is
I like that scene.
right. So if we look at how Laura fell back out of her chair in that opening scene where she first met Dr. Rose Cutter, she falls backwards, her mouth goes open. We see nothing supernatural at that moment, but this is apparently what was happening to her.
I didn't think about that.
The director's saying that that's like now we get to see both sides.
Yeah.
Her mouth's getting stretched. He's putting his head in there.
He's climbing in or
He's
climbing out.
into her, and that's why their personality changes. And this is where Rose was telling Joel, I don't think it's suicide. I think at this point the demon is taken over, and the demon is killing the person it's inside of, and so therefore we can't label it suicide.
Right. The wonderful thing about that scene to me was how loud and noisy everything was, and then how quiet the scene it is when she's just standing there and smiling, and like that was beautiful to me, the way that it was so quiet. I mean, the way it's shot and cinematography and everything is really good.
When the credits roll, do you remember the song that plays?
I'm failing to call it to mind now.
Lollipop.
Oh, okay.
Right, and the reason is because that is what the cast and crew have dubbed the entity.
Oh,
Lollipop.
they call it lollipop?
And I wonder if it's because it goes in your mouth, like a lollipop.
That's strange.
Puts his head in his mouth. I don't know, but that's the thing, and that's why they put the song at the end of the movie, is because the cast and crew had dubbed the entity Lollipop.
That's odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also there's multiple other scenes that
Yeah, go for it. We got time.
There's a scene where she's trying to convince her therapist, whose name I will never remember. She's trying to convince her therapist that she is just crazy, right? She just needs meds.
Madeline Northcott.
Yeah, that name I'll never remember. She's trying to convince her that she's just hallucinating, right? She just needs meds. She's crazy. Just give me the meds. And then it's like a scene later that someone's confronting her and she screams, "I'm not crazy!" Right? And maybe I'm wrong, but I can't imagine a not crazy person screaming, "I'm not crazy." I can't imagine that.
That's where we go back to the be calm game, because I think you could make somebody yell if you really trigger them right. But you got a good point. Yeah.
Well, it also bothers me especially. So a movie like this is always going to bother me because it's got this theme that's like, oh, this woman is not crazy and everyone thinks she's crazy because everybody just wants to label women as crazy and whatever. And it's got a little bit of a feel of that sometimes.
I guess I didn't notice, but okay.
Well, this may be me being paranoid because of my own personal situation.
Sure.
But it did immediately remind me of certain people I know whose reaction is very much to scream, "I'm not crazy" in these situations.
Okay.
Who very much is.
Sure.
And so that bothered me, I guess, for personal reasons. I guess that's not a legitimate complaint, but just rubbed me the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, even though I do want to say, again, I love this movie, there's definitely things about it that drive me crazy. So I want to talk about one that does drive me crazy.
Uh-huh.
They go to the prison to talk to the gentleman that survived by killing a random stranger. To pass it on. He's in prison now. Joel gets sent out of the room, so she gets the information that if I kill somebody, make it messy, traumatize somebody else, I'll get to live. Up until this point in the whole movie, we meet every other character who's very insensitive on how to treat people with mental issues. Rose, the doctor, is very professional in talking about people with mental disabilities in a very respectful way. When one of the detectives goes, "Well, she was a fucking loon, right?" Or something like that. People keep labeling, just throwing out the word crazy. They're insane. That sounds wacky to me. Stuff like that. She's always very respectful until the point where she wants to stop Joel from inquiring about the information she just got. When he goes, "Well, what did he say?" He's like, "Nothing. He's fucking crazy, okay?" And it upset me that because if the whole movie she's this advocate for speaking about people with mental disabilities respectfully because it's a real issue, that in this moment of her crisis, she snaps and uses it against somebody to get them to stop talking about it.
Like the veneer has fallen away. Like
Right. And I was just disappointed in the character a little bit.
Yeah.
that part was like, oh, well, darn it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, maybe the message there is nobody is strong enough to resist this creature in the way it tears your sanity away.
Sure, could be. One other fun detail is right before Dr. Northcott shows up in person, but it's really the entity.
Mm-hmm.
When she gets back into her house right after Joel drops her off from coming back from the prison, she gets in there. She's like relieved to be home, sort of. She's closing her eyes. She's leaning on the door. Dr. Cotter calls. She hangs up the phone. Right next to her on the mantle is a package that says Last Chance. Now, it might be an advertisement for something, but it's interesting because now she knows the information. This is your last chance to live. You just got to kill somebody. Yeah. It's a subtle thing that the director put there. He's like, it's been there the whole movie, but this is the time we really focus so you can see that it says Last Chance. I thought that was a fun little thing.
Yeah, that is. Okay, one other scene.
Yep.
When she's talking to Mrs. Munoz about Dr. Munoz and what happened to him.
Right.
The line that makes her suspicious immediately, that changes her tone toward her, is when she asks, when she points out that he spent all this time like trying to understand why he was seeing these things or whatever, and she said, well, did he ever find any answers? And that was the line that she immediately was like, what kind of reporter are you? And that bothered me because it's not a suspicious question. In fact, it's the obvious question.
Right. It's the next line. Well, I don't think he was crazy. It would be the one that would be like, wait, why do you not think he's crazy? I would think, if anything, that line would have said her. Right. But you're right. It was a line too early.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make sense. I was hopeful in that scene that she was going to finally have a friend, an advocate, someone to work with.
Me too, yeah.
And all it did was get us that there was a victim beforehand, and that's what got her to Joel.
Yeah.
But yeah. Interestingly, in the original script, that whole finding the trail of patience with Joel was supposed to happen in a police station, but for budgetary reasons, they were like, let's just film it in an apartment.
Yeah.
It'll be easier. But I think it made it more personal between her and him.
Yeah.
The connection real.
I really want to know what would happen if someone kills themselves out of view of someone, especially with that whole chain they established.
Yeah, the writer-director, Parker Finn, he said that him and the production company are discussing a lot of those types of questions. They think that, like, not everything is answered yet. There's a lot of questions that people are like, well, what if you do this? Well, what if you do kill someone in front of a crowd of 40 people? Like, does it pick one person? And a lot of people that I hear from online seem to think it only cares to target one person at a time because it wants to really dig in and traumatize one person. But if someone killed themselves when they weren't around anybody, I don't know if it would have a backup plan. Have you seen the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. I love that at the end there, spoiler alert for Fallen, where he's gone out to the cabin to kill himself alone. The entity in that movie brings John Goodman and two other detectives to come and arrest him. John Goodman's character kills two others. Denzel Washington is smoking these cigarettes laced with cyanide, kills John Goodman's character so that he's alone by himself, and the entity will kill himself. He did do this self-sacrifice, bring myself to nowhere.
Yeah. It's
going to kill the entity. And unfortunately for him, there's a freaking cat under the house, and the entity was supposed to go in the cat and runs away. And we get the montage that started in the beginning of the movie when he said, I wanted to tell you a story about the time I almost died. And you're like, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, it was so frustrating. But that movie attempted to do what this movie's character did not, I guess. Or maybe did. I don't know. Joel showed up. She didn't plan on Joel showing up. If she had thrown her cell phone out the window, maybe he would have had a harder time tracking her.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another thing that I was like, whatever you're going to do, you better hurry up because you got a cell phone. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the whole, like, I don't know. I get that the movie tries to sell itself as being sort of about mental health and stuff like that, but, like, it didn't quite work as being about that to me, because if it was about that, then her confronting her trauma at the end should have solved the problem. And the fact that it didn't, to me, seemed to be the movie straight up telling me that's not what the movie's really about. Yeah,
I mean, I've heard some people say that it's saying that don't hold your trauma in for so long. Deal with it sooner before it becomes a bigger issue. I think I said that earlier. So they've announced a sequel. And one thing I kind of hope they don't do right away, I hope they skip, even though I love Kyle Gardner and everything, right? He was in Jennifer's Body. I mentioned he was in Smallville. He was in Scream 5. I like him a lot. He's the one that played Joel. He's a cop. It would be way too easy for a cop to kill somebody, traumatize somebody else in the line of duty. Like, And that's just a controversial movie that I don't want to see. I'd rather Smile 2 pick up years later with somebody else. Because I don't bring it like, hey, he could be the guy in prison this time.
Yeah.
Like not having gotten away with it. Like that they go visit. But I guess I don't want to see the movie if that's what the movie's going to be, a direct sequel to it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I would rather not have a controversial movie.
Right.
Yeah. Because it takes away from the narrative as a storytelling medium, right?
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
anytime you put all your points in advocacy, it's like you're spending points you could have spent on storytelling, I feel like.
Yeah. Is there something you would like to see in a sequel?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I tend to like movies that are a little more subtle and complicated.
Okay.
And maybe this movie actually was. It sounds like, I feel like there's a lot of stuff you mentioned that I wasn't even picking up on, so that's the other problem.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that comes from special features
Yeah.
and commentary track to see what was going through the writer's mind. And definitely through the third viewing, I see things I didn't see in the first two.
Yeah, and I've only watched it once.
Right. So, I mean, I enjoy it. I like it. Even though, I mean, I would definitely not say it's a perfect movie, but I had fun with it. I like the creature they created. Like I always say, it's like sometimes movies are, to me, are so good that maybe it doesn't need a sequel, but it made so much money that they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it, but that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for talking to me about this movie today.
Well, and thank you for having me on the show. And thank you to the audience for listening to us. And thank you to our parents for like giving birth to us and whatever else.
And not really traumatizing us too much.
That's right.
We're still alive. All right, guys, if you like what you hear, please give us a like. And if you like to recommend movies for us to cover that we can get to one day if we get enough requests for them, nightmareechoespod@gmail.com. Have a great day. We have new episodes every Monday. Hope you get to listen to us again. Bye.
Bye-bye.